Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're taking a deep dive into the generations of computers, a journey inspired by a fantastic article from Priyank Gada over at Geeks for Geeks. We're going to go from machines that were the size of a whole room to the artificial intelligence we hold in our hands. If you're into this kind of stuff, make sure you hit subscribe and remember to check the description for timestamps. All right, let's get into it.
So, what do we actually mean when we say a generation of computers? You know, it's not just a block of years on a calendar. Each generation represents a huge fundamental leap, a total revolution in technology that completely changed what computers were and what they could do.
So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the basics, then time travel back to the age of giant machines, see the absolute revolution that happened on a tiny chip, and then land right here in the present to see what's happening now and what's just around the corner.
Honestly, the best way to really wrap your head around this whole evolution is to just see it all laid out. So let's take a look at the timeline of these massive technological shifts.
This gives us a perfect bird's eye view, doesn't it? And what's really cool is you can see how each generation is defined by its core technology. We go from these bulky vacuum tubes to tiny transistors, then to integrated circuits, then microprocessors, and now to something a lot more abstract, artificial intelligence.
Okay, let's go all the way back to the beginning, a time when computers weren't just big, they were practically buildings. We are talking about the true age of giants.
The very first computers, machines with names you might have heard of like ENIAC and UNIVAC, ran on thousands upon thousands of delicate, glowing vacuum tubes. These were basically light bulbs that could think, and they laid the groundwork for literally everything that was to come.
But here's the thing, even though they were revolutionary, they were also kind of a nightmare. I mean, they took up entire rooms, they drank electricity like you wouldn't believe, and with all those tubes constantly burning out, just keeping them running was a full-time job. The big solution to that vacuum tube problem was the transistor. This tiny little device did the exact same job, but it was smaller, way faster, much more reliable, and it barely used any power in comparison. It was, and I'm not exaggerating, a total game changer.
And the impact was immediate. With transistors, computers like the IBM 7090 were suddenly faster and way more dependable. This is the moment computers started to move out of top-secret military labs and into the hands of scientists, researchers, and big corporations.
Now, the transistor was incredible, but it was just the beginning. From this point forward, the entire story of computing is about one thing: the relentless quest to get smaller and smaller.
The big leap for the third generation was the integrated circuit, or the IC. The big idea here was, instead of wiring individual transistors together by hand, what if we could print them, along with other components, right onto a tiny little slice of silicone?
Now here's a really crucial difference to understand. The third generation was amazing because it put lots of components on a chip, but the fourth generation, it put the entire brain of the computer, the central processing unit, or CPU, onto a single chip, and that was the birth of the microprocessor. And that single innovation, the microprocessor, is what changed the world for you and me. It didn't just make computers powerful, it made them personal. This is the invention that led directly to the first home computers, to laptops, and yep, to that supercomputer you call a smartphone.
And that brings us right up to the present day, and it even gives us a little peek at what's coming next. The fifth generation is different. It isn't defined by one single piece of hardware, like a transistor or a chip. It's really defined by a whole new level of intelligence and new capabilities.
We are now officially in the era of artificial intelligence. We're building systems that can learn and reason like IBM's Watson, and we're even experimenting with quantum computers that could solve problems we once thought were impossible. This is computing that starts to look a lot like thinking.
Phew. Okay, so after that trip through all 5 generations, let's just pull the camera back and put it all side by side to see the big picture.
Looking at it all together like this, you can see a really clear pattern, can't you? Each generation makes computers smaller, cheaper, and more powerful. But look at the other side. Every single step forward also brought new challenges with it, from tangled software to the really serious ethical questions we're grappling with today about AI.
So after this incredible journey, what's the big takeaway? What's the main thing to remember?
Well, when you look back, the conclusion is just crystal clear. The entire history of computing has been this relentless, unstoppable march toward making technology faster, smaller, and a whole lot smarter.
The jump from those room-sized calculators to today's AI is just mind-blowing.
And as the source material points out so well, this journey is nowhere near over. The tech that defines our current 5th generation, that's not the end of the line. It's the launchpad for whatever is coming next.
Which, of course, leaves us with a final, really fascinating question to think about. If the vacuum tube defined the 1st generation and the microprocessor defined the 4th, what incredible breakthrough will be the thing that defines the 6th generation of computing? It's pretty exciting to think about. Thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you for the next explainer.